Hello everyone. Today is Friday, April 15th, 2022 at 3:55 a.m. So, I guess I think it was shortly after midnight. I tried to go to sleep, laid here for excuse me. Sorry. I think it was about 12:10 or something. I tried to go to sleep but could not sleep. I was just laying here. And at first, my body and my mind tricked me into thinking I was going to get to sleep so well. And so then, the fact that it's nearly 4 o'clock this morning, and the instant I started to close my eyes, see, they left me alone all throughout the middle of the night until just now when I try to sleep again, and they are vibrating me very heavy. So, I just had like a short, a small little altercation with a perp on Twitter because I usually don't get perped on Twitter. So, but anyway, um, so people's way of perping me on Twitter is like unfollowing or blocking me. That's their main way of perping me on Twitter. But this guy, earlier some yesterday, somebody said, excuse me, trying to somebody triggered me by saying that narcissistic victims, you know, I don't remember word for word, but I'm just paraphrasing that person tried to say that victims of narcissistic abuse need to stop feeling sorry for themselves, and they try to make it like as the narcissistic abuse victims want to be a victim, and that we should be a victor and rise above that, whatever. And so I say, you sound like a narc. I said, shut up. You sound like a narc your damn self. And sure enough, that person was posting like a lot of new age and occult stuff while falsely claiming to be, God's chosen or something along those lines. Not exactly. But you're not gonna call yourself God's chosen and then promote the occult. So anyway, this perp, um, it said DJJ Beats or something like that on Twitter. Try to you know, meddle into what I said and try to say, well, um, you need to go find you. You need to go find you some housing, guy. And then that person said, well, that person said, well, stop harassing innocent women on Twitter, you sick weirdo. And so then, I told him off about himself and then blocked him, and then he cowardly deleted his tweets. So, I mean, usually, as I said, I usually, because the perps who usually perp me, I have them all blocked. So, and that person had an account saying that his location was in Japan, but he seemed like there was no Japanese or no Asian language, just only English, and try to talk and act like a fake thug. And then he had his Twitter picture. You knew he was a perp because his Twitter picture was covered. He had a Twitter picture of his phone covering one eye. I don't remember if it was left or his right eye. I think the phone was covering his right eye where his left eye was exposed. And then I scrolled down on his account, and his account mentioned that trying to talk about how an example of how somebody needs to seek mental health treatment or something like that. But I guess that was in the post earlier a tweet earlier that he did. So I usually don't get harassed by perps on Twitter like I do on YouTube. But it's I wonder where the hell you come from. So I blocked that bastard, and but he tried to say go get you some housing, guy. I'm not a guy. I'm a female. And then talking about stop harassing innocent women on Twitter, you sick weirdo. But he was the sick weirdo harassing me and meddling in something that he had nothing to do with. And so he knew he was in the wrong because he deleted his doggone tweets. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. So, you're not even connected with that person who I told off, So, it's like narcissistic abusers, what they do is blame the victim for their suffering and then kick you down even harder and tell you that they blame you for your abuse and then kick you down even harder and then act like as if you're a punk if you can't pick yourself back up. Or if they try to make like you want to remain a victim. So, I remember in 2010 when I was suicidal depressed, and they had this lady named Lucky. I don't know if that was her real name or nickname. And she was, one of Aaliyah's top elite fake fans. And she was nice to me, throughout the years. But then, she, instead of being supportive, she kicked me down even harder by trying to say that, when I was going through a severe quote unquote mental health crisis, and she meddled in and butted in and said, well, you're only a victim if you act like one. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. If you probably would have, if Aaliyah was going through such same thing, because of you worshiping her as a celebrity, your response to her would have been different. You wouldn't have told her nothing like that. But if Aaliyah would have came out and been outspoken and verbal about her abuse, what her own uncle Barry Hankerson did to her, then, she probably would have lost a lot of fans and support, and they would call her crazy. But we're hearing a lot more about how when you speak the truth and out these abusive people, then they got their, they want to try to say you're crazy and stuff. So like a lot of celebrities, when they speak out against being molested as a child, like the Hollywood celebrities and stuff, they get molested as a child or abused or raped and stuff like that. And then when they come out with their story, the first thing they do is, force them into rehab and lie and say that they're on drugs to try to keep them quiet. And then they MK Ultra reprogram them. And I guess if it's kind of hard to reprogram them, then they become like a targeted individual, being gang stalked. And they seem like they get it worse than us with getting hit with electronic weapons like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, people like them. So, I mean, people are saying that even Britney Spears is a targeted individual. And so, yeah, they had this website long time ago. I mean, oh, I was trying to say YouTube videos. I think from Esoteric Kitten, but I'm wondering, like, this person trying to make it like as if she was exposing the Illuminati, but I think she was controlled opposition. And when somebody confronted her on her website one time about being controlled opposition, she ragged on them real hard. But why call yourself Esoteric Kitten if you're exposing Hollywood deception? So she had a blog and everything, but she had extensive research, on exposing MK Ultra. But she called herself Esoteric Kitten. So anyway, when Aaliyah's face was shown when Esoteric Kitten had mentioned in her part 3 of her several part series that if you're an MK Ultra victim, and if you dare speak out about your traumas and abuse as an MK Ultra victim, then the first thing they do is label you as crazy and schizophrenic. And then Aaliyah's face flashed on Aaliyah's face was shown because they said that Aaliyah also was very MK Ultra, and I believe she was a TI, definitely targeted. So she was also a TI. So excuse me, but I can't think of at the moment of any celebrities who got like V2K, a voice to skull. But I do remember hearing about Whitney Houston definitely being, a torture with electronic weapons before they murder her off. And I think I heard such thing with Michael Jackson too. And I heard that Aaliyah and a lot of these celebrities, always, followed everywhere they go. It's really scary and creepy. But they wanted to try to break free from the MK Ultra, and then they become targeted, stalked, harassed, and murdered. It seemed like Michael Jackson been fighting real, real hard. It seemed like he been fighting really hard. But Prince, it seems like as if he exposed some truth here and there, especially about the chemtrails. And Prince, he mentioned about 9/11 before it even happened at a concert, and he blood sacrificed his dad, I think, or one of his relatives. I think he blood sacrificed his dad. I could be wrong, but then later on he got killed in the elevator or something. So I'm not exactly sure but I think I know why the elevator is used with MK Ultra, with the mind control and being trapped, like trapped in an elevator or something enclosed. So you hear about Solange fighting Jay-Z or whatever in the elevator, or beating him up, like she physically assaulted and beat him up in the elevator and stuff like that. So you see a lot of these, connections here. So I mean, I'm like at this moment, I'm feeling the sleep deprived feeling. And now that I'm doing a video, the vibrating, it stopped for a while and it just started back up. So it's I'm yeah, I recently heard that the professed TI community had the TI like a global TI spring rally, and professed targeted individuals, even the ones who have flipped on me and became perps too, they said, "Oh, don't go to those rallies because over 95% of the people at the rallies are controlled opposition fake TI perps that are just gonna, if they're there to be like agent provocateurs to rile things up or whatever." So I mean, I'm like, oh well, they got the popular fake TI perp cult rally, huh? That I'm not like they like the popular fakes at the very top of the fake TI, the popular fake TI perp cult. It seems like as if they want. It's like as if they are so offended at me exposing them as fake TI perps to the point where they go as far as to erase my existence in the TI community. And then, the popular fakes even have turned the real TIs against me and got them joining in on the bullying campaign against me. So they want to, as I say, I got my proof as a real targeted individual and that I'm suffering and stuff like that. But what they trying to do is erase my footprints and my existence in any part of the TI community. So I mean, like Shayla Avant, just because, and I said, well, just because you erase me from your database doesn't mean that I'm not a real TI. I'm sorry, I'm accidentally. I was trying to say, just because you erase me from your database does not mean that I am not a real TI. So, and they've had, a few so-called real TIs that ganged up on me and bullied me in defense of her. You know, she erased like everything about me off of her website. But, you know, I'm even blacklisted and banned from the TI community and the narcissistic victim community on Quora. Everybody huddled together and had me blocked. So, I mean, that was part of the main part of the reasons why what's the point of me being on Quora? And so then, when I had a Facebook, like, I was always censored and banned from, all these targeted individual Facebook groups as well, from the popular fakes that all huddle together and block and ignore me and everything like that. So I thought about doing a blog, but I'm too tired and exhausted to even do a blog. But, I've had a nice big break from being triggered with the one headlights and funny headlights and all that. Just staying locked up in here. And I'm not ready to have to go back to facing being, psychologically tormented all over again. So, excuse me. Forgive me, excuse me. So, um, so I mean, I just, I mean, I'm really feeling nervous about having to be back out on the streets and stuff. And so, it's like I know that Alex, the perp, the old, the elderly perp, the elderly white male perp, Alex Dupree, you know, is trying to, stalk me everywhere. And people try to say, just stay away from him. I do. But he makes himself, he leaves me alone when I'm in a hotel or a motel room. But then, when I'm on the streets, it's easier for him to harass me when I'm on the streets. And so, if if I know that I gotta go somewhere to eat breakfast, he'll try to act like he's marking his territory like a dog and try to harass me and try to make it like as if I'm not allowed to eat there and have to go somewhere else and don't really have many options on Palafox Street. And he would stalk me on the buses. Can't ride the buses no more. And he would, stalk, follow, harass, and terrorize me. And each opportunity of me trying to switch up my routine or avoid him, he's always there. And people say ignore him, but he calls the police on me. He will make himself there on purpose and then call the police on me unprovoked, for no reason. And then the police come out and then get brutal with me and try to trigger and antagonize me for an excuse. I think they want to pick an argument with me for an excuse to try to justify shooting the shit out of me and killing me. And so if people would try to make it like if I had to get shot and killed by the police or a victim of police brutality, in which I've been a victim of police brutality before. So if I get murdered by the police, then they'll make it like as if I was a mentally unhinged, crazy person who deserved it because of being quote unquote disrespectful and not following orders or something. But all this is just uncalled for. I thought about doing it in a blog post, but I'll just, I guess, say it on here. If you gotta be me having to be on the streets as a targeted individual, a homeless targeted individual on the streets, I have to fight to survive daily. It's a daily fight to survive and overcome, and be able to dodge, dodge being locked up either in a mental institution, jail, or murdered. And it's like, if the day has passed and I'm like neither jailed, mentally institutionalized, or murdered, then I survived that day. But the perps, they want to try. I mean, as I said, they torture me with the directed energy weapons and cause me, sometimes, cause me forced diarrhea, forced urination. And then they hit me with the energy weapons ahead of time, and then I have to go be forced to, diarrhea or whatever. And then they want to crowd around me. And like I can't even get any privacy when they're the ones who hit me with the energy weapons to cause me forced diarrhea. And me being targeted, I have to wear bladder pads because of, you never know when I would end up having a forced urination. So I would have to wear bladder pads. So that's an extra expense right there. But bladder pads, they're more expensive than women's maxi pads, but bladder pads, I have to wear them like normal everyday um bladder pads, so then they will sit there and hit you with direct energy weapons that will cause you to they hit you with the direct energy weapons and cause you forced urination or forced diarrhea, and then kick you down even harder and throw it in your face and make it like you're such a loser because, oh, you can't even hold your urine. But they're the ones who did that to you. And that's like, I heard other professed targets, they say it's human trafficking. If they try to say that the perps hit them with direct energy weapons and cause them forced orgasm or forced, as if they are triggered into, masturbating or whatever. And then if the perverted perps watch the target while they're masturbating or whatever, and then I heard that they can film the target, and then put that target on a dark web and try to make it pass it off as like a porn video or whatever. you know but and then I heard they make a whole lot of money on the dark web. But it's like really embarrassing what we targets have to go through and stuff like that. Or they will torture and put pain on your genitals or your nipples or your breasts or whatever, or burn your toes, or they do all kinds of things to us. And then some people who lie and say, outsiders who lie and say that they know, or they lie and say that they understand, or they lie and say that they sympathize, but then they act like as if they're frustrated with and annoyed with you, and like they want you to shut the fuck up. But they make it like as if you're not allowed. They're the ones who violate your privacy and act like peeping toms, and wanting to crowd around you when you're not allowed to get any privacy while you pee. And then they are the peeping toms, but then you try to get privacy, and they falsely make it like as if you're the sick, crazy exhibitionist when you don't have anywhere to go pee. And I just wish people would have more compassion and understand, but no, they would rather rescue cats and dogs and make it like as if homeless people are crazy and mentally ill, and that we burned our bridges from our so-called loved ones, when actually the truth is the so-called loved ones, your close relatives, if they out to have you sacrifice for insurance money, and so they make you out to be crazy to cover up. They want to try to play innocent, but then they try to pretend to fake like they mourn you and everything. But then seemingly overnight they get a nice big house and everything. So I get how narcissistic it is if you drive around and I'm gonna bring that up, a 2022 Volvo, but then you'll sit there and have a conniption meltdown, an over-exaggerated, fake, retarded, narcissistic conniption meltdown over me having a pack of ramen noodles that I would get for free from the food bank or something like that. That's expired ramen noodles is too luxury for me. But you drive a freaking, 2023 Volvo while you stockpile and harass me in your Volkswagen Jetta or whatever. But I mean, I'm not even worthy to deserve to eat a pack of noodles. Oh, even if I eat half the pack, oh, that's too greedy. One grain of rice, oh, that's too greedy, and you're such a pig. But then if I would not eat and then pass out, they'll make it like, oh, she refused to eat on purpose for sympathy, pity, and attention, and she wanted to pass out. Don't help her. Let her stay there. And we're going to get her committed to the mental institution. But, I don't know why, online strangers feel the need to be obsessed with my mental health, talking about me being mentally unhinged or mentally unwell. But it's like you're a retarded, narcissistic perp that pretends to delusionally believe you're my handler. And you're nothing to me. You don't control me. You don't rule me. You don't run me. Go fry in hell with your master Satan. With your androgynous, fake, false master Satan. But you think you delusionally believe you're so freaking righteous. You're not the judge of me. You're not the boss of me. You're not the ruler of me. You're not my handler. You're Satan's slave. That's all you are. You don't run me. You don't control me. So I mean, and then the same perps who been stalking and following and harassing me for like 3 years, y'all be the same ones to say that Candy's life is not all that interesting. Well, everything you say is polar opposite of everything you do. But the fact that you're so hungry to control a complete stranger, who's the one who's mentally unwell or mentally unhinged here? So, you want to falsely accuse me of being mentally unhinged or mentally unwell, and that I need urgent, mental health care, when it's no care but control and abuse and more torture. But it's like they want to try to capture me against my will. And the thing about throwing people under the bus, I have actually done a little more research on that fake slang phrase of throwing people under the bus. Because as I said, the fake TI perps or TI's term perps, when I expose them, they say that I threw them under the bus. But when I look up throwing somebody under the bus, they say the definition means to sacrifice somebody's character, more like smear campaign, for your own personal gain, and to crush and destroy them. And then they go around and say that Candy is not loyal. But y'all the one who betrayed me, and I don't have a sinister motive or hidden agenda behind exposing the truth about y'all. It's not selfish. It's to bring awareness that y'all are popular and well liked, but y'all want to make like, oh, well, let's just be positive. But then behind closed doors, y'all doing all manner of wickedness. But then y'all want to talk about God, that God deserves to punish the wicked. Well, he should punish you too, because you're the one who's going around pretending to front like you're a Christian, but then act like a perp behind closed doors. A covert, narcissistic, fake TI perp or somebody who's never been targeted in the first place and just pretending. So, it's so much chaos, corruption, and confusion because everybody's walking around under strong delusion and believing everything that's opposite of what's true and what's real. If my ebooks reveal the truth about things, and then they'll try to make it like as if me speaking the truth based on research, and I got my facts and my, evidence to back it up, and y'all still will say that, that I'm the one who's out of touch with reality, and that's what narcs do to try to make you out to look crazy when you expose the truth about them. But as far as the throwing people under the bus, I just publicly expose you as a perp, and that you were the one who betrayed me and never was a friend. And then if I look back on the fake friendship, 2-year-old friendship, and realize that you were fake the whole time, or it's like, well, how did not catch on or see red flags sooner? So, I mean, if you a perp, don't you dare talk about how God is going to punish people or send plagues to people, or the religious narcs who have flipped on me and became perps they talk about, oh, because God has destroyed my enemies in front of my eyes. They say stuff like that God has destroyed their enemies before their eyes. But then you turn around and think you're righteous, but then act like an abusive, narcissistic perp towards me. And the perp Star Bricker, I caught her yesterday that she said a couple of months ago that I'm the one who's highly narcissistic. But perps like her really do need to be destroyed. All of you bastards. I'm saying y'all need to be destroyed. The gang stalking program and everybody associated with it, y'all need to have y'all names out there and exposed. That people need to expose y'all for who y'all are. And then y'all want to try to talk about that I don't have the common sense to realize that I can get sued. You're not going to bully me into silence and submission. So, y'all not going to bully me into silence and submission. And it seems like I'm thankful and glad I don't hear those doggone voices. So I bet you it's like they seem like the type of people who would be like the main perps who would be doing, the voice thing or whatever, But I've dealt with fake TI perps who say that they don't get gang stalking or hit with electronic weapons or nothing, and they claim that they only get V2K. And then come to find out, they start to act like a perp. But then they got some professed targeted individuals who say that they get V2K, but they get the electronic weapons also, and some of them get gang stalked also, But if you're going through all that, why the hell y'all need to perp me? But, these bastards are vibrating my heart, vibrating my chest, and my feet right now. So, I'm already tortured and abused enough. And it's like I'm being manipulated into The perps want to try to make the world hate me, and make it like as if my life doesn't matter, and for the fact that I have to feel like the biggest shock if one person would have any respect towards me. Like as if I have to make it like as if everybody's a doggone celebrity. Like as if everybody's got to be doggone above me and more superior, higher, and better than me. Or that I have to, be the worst hated. Because the other professed targeted individuals who say that they're tortured and hated and stuff, I figure if you got like, you know, 35,000 YouTube subscribers, you can't be too hated. And if you get like, you know, sometimes you get more thumbs up than the amount of subscribers and views than the amount of subscribers you got in your videos. And if you got like 20,000 comments in your videos, you can't be, you're one of the popular fake sellouts. But it's like the popular fake sellouts are never questioned. And if you go against the grain, then you get bullied and attacked like as if they are a cult leader or something. So like people like Terry Joel Jr., fake targeted individual, new breed to the world over or whatever, another one of the popular fakes. That Enoch the Freestyle Prince, one of the popular fakes. I don't even know if Enoch the Freestyle Prince is still on YouTube, but they got dozens of them. And the first thing, people want to dismiss the research that I show them and come back and tell me, well, I looked up gang stalking and they just said it's a common shared delusion. Like, you dummy, you were supposed to look at what I showed you, because the mainstream is, the first links is not going to tell you the truth. It's like the popular fake mainstream websites that are trying to, like, if you Google search targeted individuals or gang stalking, one of the first things will come up will be like the New York Times or MIT review, trying to mock and discredit our situation. And then they want to talk about that we are a cult that's full of shared delusions. And so I'm tired of people, the popular fake TI perps say that, well, don't talk about your gang stalking, because just talk about just this program in general, and don't talk about your personal gang stalking, because then if you talk about your personal gang stalking, then you have an agenda to make us out to look crazy. You're trying to make the TI community look crazy. And then they'll try to discredit you when you have concrete proof, and they still try to gaslight you and try to make you question yourself. And they want to try to make it like that, oh, I don't believe Candy's a real TI. After at first you were supporting me for 2 years and be like, oh, I like your videos, and say, oh, that right there, some good proof right there, Candy. Oh, just keep your head up. God looks high, and God sits high and looks low. He's watching over you or whatever. And then after they became fake, and after they start perping me and I out and expose them for perping me and stuff, then they turn around and say, well, I don't believe Candy was ever targeted. Or a narcissistic fake TI person who betrayed me, they will get mad and yell at me on the phone and say, I don't even believe you were ever targeted. Or they'll make it like as if me telling how my targeting started is like a bullshit story. It's like y'all were fake from the beginning. And then they act like as if they want to gain intel on me and use it as a weapon or ammunition against me. And they want to act like they want to try to, set themselves up as my handler. Think they could, and while pretending to be targeted. And then the popular fakes or regular fake TI perps, the unpopular fake TI perps, they got those too. They try to make like, oh, so you don't trust to stay by nobody's house. You just want their money. This person offered you to come stay by them and you don't want to go live with them. Oh, so you don't trust nobody, but you'll take their money. But, but then if I go and accept that offer and go by that person's house, a strange male, they can tell me anything over the computer or the phone. And then, I've heard about how a targeted individual will go live with somebody pretending to be targeted. And then they might be like, well, I thought that person was a TI like me. Well, that person must have got sabotaged because I traveled 8 hours to get over there. And now after I got over there, they decide they don't want me over there no more. After they just switch their mind about deciding to want me over at their house. Or you hear the tragic story about how a target is led like a sheep to the slaughter, and then ritually killed and murdered. And all people can say is, well, that person didn't use good judgment, or he or she was stupid. That they would say that this person was stupid, and like you don't go all the way to Chicago by some stranger, and you don't even know this man, and you went by him. Oh, she get every bit of what she deserves. I don't feel sorry for her. But then people online, fake TI perps and regular perps, I had big feud on Twitter and other social media because they're like, well, why don't you go live with this person? They're giving you great advice. So, is you telling me, oh, your religion is not working, stop trying to be a Christian, and you be extremely abusive, and you want to target and traffic me? That's giving me good advice or helping me out? Because that human trafficker DJ, he kept making false promise. I meant to say false. He acted like as if he was trying to be like, don't you want a better life? And so he thought that I was trying to make myself homeless on purpose, and that I'm such a loser and a fool for not accepting his deal or offers to sell out. And he plainly admitted to me that he gets TIs to flip and become perps. And he made it like as if I was the only stubborn, crazy fool who he couldn't get. That if he can get other TIs, and he tried to make it like as if the fact that he couldn't get me, that I was such a loser. So he claimed that he's the one responsible, one of the main ones responsible for getting TIs to flip and become perps. Why should it be a good idea if I'm 38 years old, living in the South? Why should it be a good idea for me to go live with, and if I'm a Christian, why should it be a good idea for me to go all the way to Chicago with a man who I know nothing about, and he would refuse. He knows all about me, but he will refuse to tell me what he told me his age, but he will refuse to tell me what his name is. And then, get verbally abusive when I reject his offers. But, as I said, June 18th was his last proposition. I rejected him, and I have never heard from this DJ perp since. Never heard from him since June 18th of last year, which was like approximately a year after Alex ran me out of Pensacola. Alex Dupree. The hell-faced, ugly, crazy, dirty demon, Alex Dupree. I mean, I wish there was a freaking spray to exterminate him. But no, y'all got things reversed. That y'all trying to get me exterminated off the face of this human extermination. That y'all have me in this human extermination program. Ooh. See? Right when I said that, it looked like some police lights came by. I just missed it. There's red police lights. I don't know if it was police or ambulance. I think it was ambulance because it was all red. But speaking of that, when I was living in Los Angeles, they even rolled me, like when I nearly drowned in the at Venice Beach. They refused to help me when I nearly drowned in the rip current, and they said a lot. I was treated like as if I was faking sickness. I mean, faking injuries for attention or whatever. But everybody else, they got treated, but they rough handled and abused me and tried to kill me. And they sent me in an ambulance to the Santa Monica UCLA UCLA Medical Center in Santa Monica, part of Los Angeles. And they rolled me in ambulance number 33. And so I heard that, I could be wrong, but I think remember hearing that Michael Jackson died at that exact place, UCLA Medical Center. But I heard that a lot of celebrities, when they get like an MK Ultra tune-up or reprogramming after their MK Ultra programming breakdown, then I heard that they forced, like the celebrity MK Ultra, they're forced to have to go to they're forced to go be transported to Cedars-Sinai. But I don't even know if Cedars-Sinai, if they're still, operating. But, I heard that celebrities got to go to Cedars-Sinai to be reprogrammed. But they also have like these different MK Ultra programming sites. Like, I'm from New Orleans, and they have Ochsner Hospital. I did not know that Ochsner Hospital was founded upon MK Ultra and mind control. I've done some deep digging and research on Ochsner Hospital. And I think I heard that Tulane University, was an MK Ultra programming spot as well. So, they got the celebrity MK Ultra victims, they're allowed to be rich. But we targeted individuals, we're forced to be poor and totally destitute. And other professed targets, if they see you having like a bag of noodles and they can't have none, they'll try to be jealous and narcissistic and try to get your bag of noodles shut down. And you might offer them half and say, well, here, you can have this other half for this. They want it all for themselves while you have nothing. And that's what makes you think that, well, this professed target is, acting like a perp, a narcissistic perp. But, I've been hurting all this time because of professed targeted individuals who have backstabbed and betrayed me, and then went on to lie and say that Candy is the one who threw them under the bus and is not loyal. I'm mind boggled by that. That people are changing for the worst. People are not bettering themselves, but they like to front like they're more righteous, but they do evil and act very abusive and controlling behind closed doors. And I'm like, well, you tell me don't get a car, but you're not gonna tell somebody who you pretend to fake worship. You're not gonna tell them to not have a car, or you're not gonna tell them, don't post YouTube videos about food. You know, so it's like, well, if I don't get the enough money to stay here, you know, well, I guess I will have to, use the money to be transported to my to and from my storage unit, to put all this stuff back in the storage unit, and then I have to be back downtown and experience, who knows what kind of weather. And I guess I will have, like, you know can only eat out at restaurants, but I can't take, the buses no more. So I end up being harassed more if I'm staying downtown. They harass me even more, and then I have more police activity that I have to deal with, and being kicked out and banned from this restaurant, that restaurant, not having a place to use the bathroom, being eaten up and torn up and attacked by ants, and early in the morning, and then, or all throughout the day, but then the ants leave me alone at night. But then I have to be tormented and harassed by flies during the day, or mosquitoes at night, or worst cases, freaking termites, or a chance that I could be attacked by a dog, or being harassed by more perps, being beat up, robbed, stolen from, raped, who knows what. Or, if they capture me and throw me in jail or the mental institution. And due to my disability, I'm hypersensitive to noise. And I've been battling and fighting for a way to get my own place. Because people would make like, oh, it's unfair that I have to stop watching TV just to cater to you, and I open my house up to you. And I wouldn't be trying to dictate people's lives or be a spoiled narcissistic brat. I don't want to live with somebody who's gonna blast loud TV or loud music, or keep everything loud and chaotic and you can't even get any peace, or if they're smoking cigarettes or weed in the house all the time. But it seems like those be the main ones who want to act like they want to offer me a place to live. I don't want to live with people who have loud TVs or loud music, or people who smoke weed or cigarettes, or where I can't get any peace. And then if I walk into the kitchen to get breakfast, then I get told that I'm being very disturbing the whole household, when I'm just, go and fix me some cereal or something. And then I've already told y'all the hurdles and struggles with trying to rent a room. Nobody wants to rent a room to me. I even tried that too, and it's a perp that would use a cheap price of $400 to bait me in It's just for me to be tortured with bed bugs. And then they scam me and keep the $400 and leave me on the streets with nothing. So I fell for those traps too many times. Excuse me. So, um, the narcissistic perps or whatever, like in New Orleans, there was an opportunity for me to rent a room. And this, I don't know if he was, I guess you can say Creole, man. He was renting out rooms to people, and they had this white lady who, tried to, she told me straight up that she was not going to stop smoking her cigarettes for me. And so he said, well, she's been here all this time. She's been here, and he's like, well, she has priority. She has priority because she's been here first. So you can't tell her not to smoke no cigarettes. But here, she got all kinds of crippling disabilities behind smoking cigarettes. So I couldn't stay there. Because and I'm like, well, wow. She can't even just go outside and smoke. Nope, she wants to smoke in her room. So that was a wasted night, and I had to still stay homeless. And, they had this lady a narcissistic, mean lady in Algiers who wanted to charge $600. But she gave me my $600 back. And, but her place had like the ceiling moldy and falling, caving in, leaks everywhere, and bed bugs. And she didn't live in that house. She lived in a different house, and plus she was renting out rooms to people and scamming people, and also like she was popular and well respected in the neighborhood. And she would sell food and candy and whatever else. And, nobody snitched her out or told on her. But if I had my place and if I were to sell, praline candy or make and sell, frozen cups, they would tell on me. People would tell on me. But, I could have been, selling frozen cups. That could have prevented me from being homeless. I don't know why it's gotten to that point where you got to end up, having a license to sell something simple as lemonade. That could free so many people from poverty and homelessness if, but no, they want the corporations to flourish and the people to be poor and die off. So, I'm still do not know what today will bring. And, as I said, if I were to get like under the amount that I need to get, then all I would be able to afford to do is go back to my storage unit, put my stuff up, and then get an Uber ride back, and then have to be tormented on the streets and followed and harassed and be rained on. And then, and I feel bad because I feel like I do not want to hurt other people's pockets or drain other people's pockets. But it's like, I don't know what else to do to survive. And I do not want your offers for me to sell out or become a prostitute or nothing. I'm not even trying to do that. I just want to live righteously and honestly. It's now 4:59 a.m. in the morning. Oh, they stopped the vibrating because of me talking now. So these bastards caused me, a night of sleep deprivation. Well, I could be doing more writing or have more writing projects. But, if I try to write, then they're going to say Candy's, mentally unhinged, or you can tell she sounds incoherent or mentally unwell and stuff like that. But hey, if you didn't sleep deprive me and I got, the sufficient amount of sleep, then I could think and write better. So I'll try to go for now and try again to get me some sleep. It might be one of those sleep deprived mornings where if I go to eat super early breakfast and then end up going to sleep after the early breakfast, but then waking up at about um 11, 12 o'clock. But I might have to end up packing up and leaving out of here. And so I don't know if it would take longer than 3 hours to pack up and then leave. And I'm scared because I'm scared of the bad weather I would have to endure. And I'm not mentally ready to go back to dealing with, you know, the gang stalking abuse activities. And then going through this with having really nobody I can talk to. If everybody just want to say, oh, just shut up and ignore. But then saying that they have a right to have a brand new, nice luxury car. But I'm a nutcase in the basket case for wishing I had a car. You know? And it's like most people ain't trying to help me. And I never said that I was entitled to other people's hard-earned money. But if they wouldn't stop me from making my own money, I wouldn't have to resort to this. They try to say that I act like as if I'm entitled to other people's hard-earned money, and then they try to say, well, that therefore Candy is the narcissist because she's the one who thinks she's entitled to everybody else's hard-earned money. And it's not even true. I'm just asking for help. I never said, and then they falsely